G'day YouTube, it's Turbo Tristan here, and today we'll be fitting this MAXPEEDINGRODS oil catch can to one of Gary's other cars. This is the big horsepower build D16Y8 turbo. We're going to fit this over in the back of the engine bay, right where the battery goes. Dash 10 fittings, 2 filters on the top. It's baffled, and it's a big improvement on what he had before. Some of the OG subscribers will remember that we took this car for a drive when it had the little tiny T25 ball bearing turbo on there and with the stock engine. It's now since been fully rebuilt. Rings, pistons, rods, bearings, valve springs, bigger oversized valves, retainers, all titanium gear, a massive cam. And he's even upgraded the turbo to a Garrett GTX 3076. This turbo can go up to 700 or 800 horsepower. We won't be anywhere near that on the D series, but we're probably going to be about halfway there at least. And in today's episode, we're going to do some tidy ups. We've got all this beautiful pipe work, which was done by Elusive Racing, a new top mount manifold. We've spun the turbo around from last time, so it's going to be feeding air there instead of off the radiator. We're going to lose the power steering. We're going to tidy up these oil lines for the oil filter. We need to swap out the fuel pressure reg back down here onto the rail because this one has a different fitting. So that's a B series one. We can use that on the other motor. We've got a D series one that's going to live there. Down here, you'll see that the battery tray is no longer there and there's a bunch of wires. That's because the battery is now in the boot, just like on my Civic. So what we're going to do is just move all these cables out of the way and just push them back and then put the battery tray back in so we can mount the oil catch can in there. And if everything goes well, we're going to get a first start up on this motor with this turbo and this whole new stainless steel exhaust. We'll give you a look at it later on. As far as D series builds go, this one is top shelf, top notch. I cannot wait. It's going to absolutely throw you back in the seat and it's going to make a ton of power. Fingers crossed, upwards of 400, 450 horsepower at the wheels, which is going to be a massive handful, and we will take it for a drive and show some videos on the channel as soon as it's ready and tuned. We'll unbox the oil catch can now. So I've already cut the sticky tape off. One thing it comes with that's really cool is this billet aluminium tie down, like that goes on the top of the battery. And that just probably goes on top of there, I'd say. So we're going to use the original battery mounts, put those through there and hook it on, keep it nice and secure. So that's really cool and lightweight. This is the catch can here. Now you can see inside there, the holes you can't see all the way into the back because there's a baffle there. So the air goes in, hits the baffles, goes either up or down and then around. And there's more baffles inside there to stop the air coming right out the top here. So you can see, I can't even put my finger through there, but I can see that there's a path for the air to escape. So this is an oil air separator or an oil catch can. All the excess breathing that the engine does with boost in it pushes past the rings. It's unavoidable. Doesn't matter how good your machine job is or your engine build is. Some air is still going to go past the rings into the sump, back up through the oil system, and then it's going to need to go somewhere. So rather than pump that back in your intake or back in your turbo, the oil and air vapor will go in here. The oil will settle at the bottom and the air will come out the top through some filters which are in these little boxes here. So there they are. Nice big filters. There's 2 of them and they'll just push on there like that. Put the nice bracket underneath the other one. And then something like that on there. And then that's how it's going to be situated in the engine bay. So really nice. dash 10 fittings there. And we're going to run some hose. So you'll see that install in just a moment. Well, it's time to put the catch can in. We're just using the original battery tray. I've put the plastic liner in there. So firstly, I'm going to stick one through that side, because that's the one I can't see. And then zip that down. The other side. Now I did need to trim these down a bit and just bend the end of it round, but that's no dramas. Alright, after a bit of mucking around, that went on. And I already measured up the hoses and trial fitted them, pushed on the push lock hose, so that's pretty straightforward. We were able to get the job done with the amount of hose we had down to the millimetre. There was not a millimetre left to spare. So this one goes just behind that one like that. The lines on the rocker cover are -8. The can has -10s, so we just had to use a reducer, which was no big deal. You don't need to do these up tight. They're not holding any pressure. It's just basically breathing gas. So you can get the tools out if you want, but there's really no need. Move that vacuum line. Alright, so for this fitting, it's pointing right up in the air, and that's just the way I had it welded on because there wasn't a whole lot of room. What we might end up doing in the future is getting another 45 or a 90 and just swapping this one out. So it does clear the bonnet, sort of just pushes on the hose, doesn't kink it, but that was our bad. Alright, so that's in, nice and snug, everything's nice and tight, lines are nice and short. You can see down the back here, so we've got the two -10 adapters to the -8s, push lock hose, and just a couple of block offs on the bottom there. You can use those for drains. You can run a breather down to the back of the engine, which is what I've got on my Civic at home. But that's your breathers there. It's neat, it's tidy, it's out of the road, does its job. And as I said, we'll probably just get a 90 on there, just to bend that around. It does clear. It doesn't rub. I tested it. In the name of tidiness, we'll just throw a 90 degree on there just to push that down a bit, give a little bit more clearance, but otherwise, no big deal. And looks like dinner's here, so we're gonna take a break and get back onto putting everything back where it needs to go, run some oil lines, maybe run some water lines, we'll see. We don't need them for the first start. We'll check out that beautiful exhaust that was done by Elusive under the car in a minute, but it's pizza time. So we've run into a few hiccups. It's very difficult to tighten up that drain under the turbo, so we might need to pull that off. It's probably going to leak when we start it up. This return here is not quite gravity fed. It might flatten out here, but the main reason of looking underneath the car at the moment is this beautiful exhaust manifold and 3-inch downpipe. It's got the plumb back Turbo Smart screamer. Straight down, we've got the U-Butte flexi coupling here with V-bands straight down the car, 90, 90 over the control arm, and then out the back to an awesome K-tuned rear box. But yeah, look at these welds. Absolute weld porn. And there's extra V-bands put in so you can remove sections of the exhaust. I haven't seen a D16 with an exhaust this good before. If I'm being honest, there's none on the net that have spent the time and money to make an exhaust this nice. So we're keen to hear it. Hot dog with a resonator, 3 inches all the way through. But we're going to start it up for you guys in just a moment. We've done some mucking around. We've rerouted the oil cooler into coolers, hasn't moved, and just fitting up where the intercooler pipes are going to go because it all needs to be welded up. It's going to be pushing some pretty high boost, maybe 20, 30, who knows, but lots of PSI. So out of that Garrett 3076 up there. So next thing you probably see, hopefully, is it starting up with any luck. We've just got to do some oil lines. All right, kids, don't try this at home. We're just doing it to hear the engine. There's just some water in it. There is oil in the car, but it's not at its full level. All the injectors, everything's all plumbed up, exhaust plumbed up. We've got the oil feed lines on and the oil cooler. That's all done. It might leak, but we're only going to run the car for just like 20 seconds or something, just so we can hear it, because the anticipation is killing us. Something's happening.
Unless the bat, no, the bat.
Go, I'll wiggle the things.
Yeah, no, I heard it blow a fuse, I reckon. Alright, let's find where that is.
Not our day. We're going to check out whatever that was that popped and see if we can't get it to go. If not, we're going to call it a night, and yeah, that'll be the end of it, but wish us luck. Go for it. So I just did it again, just clicked.
Yeah, but the fan came on. But
we got fuel pump.
We got fuel pump back, and then when I cranked it, it clicked again, but the fan came straight on. We got some electrical issues.
Some gremlins in the system.
That is far beyond me.
Me too, mate. Big letdown, big anticlimax. All the fuses are good. In the engine bay, under the dash, all the plugs are plugged in, the battery's got charge. We sometimes get the fuel pump noise, sometimes we don't. The fan comes on and off, we can hear everything's clicking on and off, but it won't actually move the starter motor and turn the engine over. So it might just be the starter motor's dead. We don't know. We're not auto electricians. We don't even pretend to be. We do the bolt on, bolt off stuff and leave that up to the professionals. We've unmounted or half removed the catch can for now, which was one of the main reasons why we did this video. The other one was to show you everything that Gary's got done to his D16, fully built D16. We will be back and we will hear this thing and see this thing running, and fingers crossed it should be 400 plus, as much as we can make. Yeah, moon tune, send it to the moon. But for now, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share and subscribe. Comment below what you think it might be. We're scratching our heads. We're not auto electricians, but thanks for watching. Spool up. We'll see you in the next video.